Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, today I want to talk to you about something powerful, something often overlooked in a world that never stops talking. A principle that governs the most successful, the most wise, and the most favored among us. And that principle is this: stay silent, everything will come to you naturally. Silence creates space for wisdom and clarity. In a world filled with noise, distractions, and constant chatter, the ability to be silent is one of the most powerful disciplines a person can cultivate. It is in silence that we create room for deep thinking, for true understanding, and for wisdom to emerge. When we are always speaking, always reacting, always filling the air with our own thoughts, we leave no space for revelation. The greatest minds in history, the most successful leaders, and the wisest individuals have always understood the power of silence. It is not the absence of thought, but the presence of deeper awareness. Silence allows us to process information more effectively. When we are engaged in continuous conversation, our minds are preoccupied with forming responses, defending positions, or proving points. But when we embrace silence, we give ourselves permission to absorb, reflect, and analyze what is being said. This is why the wisest individuals often speak less and listen more. They understand that true knowledge is not just in speaking, but in comprehending. Most people listen to reply, but the wise listen to understand. In the absence of silence, we are easily led by emotions, external influences, and the pressures of the world. A noisy mind leads to hasty decisions, unclear judgments, and misguided actions. But silence allows us to step back and see the bigger picture. It gives us clarity by removing the unnecessary clutter that clouds our thinking. Many times, the answers we seek are already present, but they are buried under the noise of our fears, our doubts, and the voices of others. When we quiet ourselves, we allow those answers to rise to the surface. Wisdom is not found in the multitude of words, but in the depth of thought. Those who are quick to speak often reveal a lack of true understanding. Words, when spoken too soon or too often, can become empty. But when a person speaks from a place of wisdom, their words carry weight. This is why those who are known for their wisdom are often reserved in speech. They do not waste words because they understand their value. They know that silence is not a weakness. It is a strategy. It is the foundation upon which wise decisions are built. Silence also protects us from unnecessary conflict and regret. Many people have destroyed relationships, lost opportunities, and harmed their own credibility simply because they spoke when they should have remained silent. Words spoken in haste cannot be taken back, but silence gives us the time to think, to choose our words carefully, and to speak only when necessary. It allows us to observe, to discern, and to respond with wisdom instead of reacting impulsively. When we cultivate silence, we also cultivate inner peace. A restless mind is often a noisy mind, filled with endless thoughts, anxieties, and worries. But when we learn to be silent, we train ourselves to be still, to let go of the need to control everything, and to trust that clarity will come. In the stillness, our thoughts settle and our perspective shifts. What once seemed confusing begins to make sense. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. The most profound moments of growth happen in silence. When we are alone with our thoughts, away from the distractions of the world, we begin to discover who we truly are. We become aware of our strengths, our weaknesses, and the areas in which we need to grow. Silence forces us to confront ourselves, to ask the hard questions, and to seek true understanding. It is in this space that wisdom is cultivated, clarity is gained, and transformation begins. Patience allows things to align in their proper time. In a fast-pacing world where instant gratification has become the norm, patience is often overlooked and undervalued. Many people rush into decisions, force outcomes, and try to control every detail of their lives, only to find themselves exhausted, frustrated, and disappointed. But patience is a powerful force that brings alignment, order, and natural progression. It is not passive waiting, but an active trust in the timing of life. When a person understands patience, they recognize that everything has its season, and no amount of force can make something happen before its appointed time. Nature itself teaches this principle. A seed does not become a tree overnight. It requires time, nurturing, and the right conditions to grow. The sun rises and sets in a perfect rhythm, and no human effort can speed up the process. The ocean tides move in harmony with the moon, and the changing of the seasons happens without interference. Everything in the universe functions according to an appointed order. And when we align ourselves with this truth, we begin to experience the power of patience. When we try to rush what is meant to unfold naturally, we disrupt the process and often end up with something incomplete, weak, or unsustainable. Patience brings clarity because it allows situations to reveal themselves fully. Many times people make decisions based on incomplete information simply because they lack the patience to wait for things to unfold. They act on impulse rather than wisdom, leading to unnecessary mistakes and regrets. But when a person embraces patience, they give themselves the opportunity to see the whole picture. They allow time to bring out the truth, to expose what is hidden, and to confirm whether an opportunity, relationship, or path is truly meant for them. What seems perfect in the moment may prove otherwise if given enough time. What appears delayed may actually be preparing for something greater. Patience is also a test of discipline and trust. It requires a person to surrender their need for control and to have faith in the unseen. Many people struggle with patience because they fear missing out, being left behind, or losing opportunities. But true patience is rooted in the understanding that what is meant for a person cannot be taken from them. It is not about inactivity, but about knowing when to move and when to wait. The most successful people understand this balance. They do not chase every opportunity recklessly. They position themselves wisely and trust the process. When patience is cultivated, it strengthens character. It teaches endurance, resilience, and self-control. A person who has mastered patience is not easily shaken by delays, obstacles, or setbacks. They do not make rash decisions out of frustration, nor do they allow temporary circumstances to dictate their actions. Instead, they remain steady, knowing that everything will come together in its due time. Impatience, on the other hand, leads to unnecessary stress, poor choices, and a constant feeling of dissatisfaction. Those who lack patience are often in a perpetual state of anxiety, always chasing, always pushing, but never truly at peace. There is a natural flow to life that cannot be forced or manipulated. When a person tries to rush ahead of their season, they often find themselves unprepared for what they were so eager to receive. Relationships that are forced often crumble, careers that are rushed often lead to burnout, and decisions made in haste often lead to regret. But when patience is exercised, things unfold in a way that is stable, sustainable, and aligned. What is truly meant for a person will never require desperate striving. It will come naturally when the time is right. Listening is more powerful than speaking. Many people believe that power lies in their ability to speak, to express their opinions, or to dominate conversations with their words. But true power is found in the ability to listen. Listening is not simply hearing words. It is understanding, discerning, and processing information in a way that leads to wisdom. A person who listens gains knowledge, while a person who only speaks limits themselves to what they already know. Those who master the art of listening position themselves to receive insight, guidance, and solutions that would otherwise be missed. Most people listen with the intent to respond rather than to understand. They wait for their turn to speak, formulating their reply while the other person is still talking. This is not true listening. It is simply waiting to talk. When a person genuinely listens, they give their full attention, not just to words, but to tone, emotion, and meaning. They pick up on details that others overlook. They recognize what is being said and what is left unsaid. This level of awareness allows them to respond with wisdom rather than react impulsively. It strengthens relationships, builds trust, and prevents misunderstandings. Listening also reveals character. A person who listens well is often perceived as thoughtful, respectful, and wise. On the other hand, those who constantly interrupt, dismiss, or ignore what others are saying come across as arrogant or self-centered. The most influential leaders, mentors, and decision makers understand that listening gives them access to perspectives they may not have considered. It allows them to make informed decisions rather than impulsive ones. By listening, they gain the trust of those around them. And trust is one of the most valuable currencies in any relationship, whether personal or professional. Silence during conversations can be uncomfortable for those who do not understand its value. Many people rush to fill the silence with words, fearing that quiet moments indicate weakness or a lack of knowledge. But those who are wise understand that silence is a tool. It creates space for deeper thoughts, for others to share more openly, and for meaningful connections to form. When a person listens patiently, they give others the freedom to express themselves fully without fear of being cut off or dismissed. This not only strengthens communication, but also creates an environment where people feel valued and understood. Listening also brings protection. Many people have spoken too soon, only to regret their words later. They have reacted without fully understanding a situation and caused unnecessary harm. But those who take the time to listen before speaking avoid unnecessary conflicts and misunderstandings. They gather all the information before making a judgment. They recognize that every situation has multiple perspectives, and only through careful listening can they see the full picture. By developing the habit of listening first and speaking second, they ensure that their words, when spoken, carry weight and meaning. Stillness attracts opportunities effortlessly. In a world that constantly demands action, movement, and hustle, stillness is often misunderstood. Many believe that success comes only through relentless effort, pushing forward and chasing after opportunities. But those who understand the power of stillness recognize that it is not about doing nothing. It is about creating the right environment for things to come naturally. When a person learns to be still, they position themselves in a place of strength, clarity, and receptivity. Instead of forcing doors open, they allow the right doors to open at the right time. Stillness is not laziness, it is a strategy. It is the ability to remain calm and composed, even when life is unpredictable. Many people make the mistake of believing that if they are not constantly in motion, they will fall behind or miss their chance. But stillness allows them to see what others miss. It creates space for wisdom, for ideas to develop, and for the right opportunities to align without unnecessary struggle. A restless person often chases after things that do not belong to them, exhausting themselves in the process. But a person who has mastered stillness moves with purpose, not desperation. Opportunities flow toward those who are steady. There is a difference between pursuing something with intention and chasing after it recklessly. When a person is constantly striving, pushing, and forcing things to happen, they often create resistance. But when they learn to be still, they allow opportunities to come naturally. This does not mean they sit idly by, waiting for life to happen. It means they trust that the right opportunities will reveal themselves when the time is right. They remain prepared, but they do not panic. They take action when necessary, but they do not act out of fear. Stillness also attracts the right people. In a world where everyone is trying to be seen and heard, those who are calm, composed, and confident in their stillness stand out. They are not desperate for attention or validation. Instead, they exude a quiet strength that draws the right connections to them. People are naturally drawn to those who are centered, balanced, and at peace within themselves. A restless mind pushes people away, but a still spirit invites them in. When a person learns to be still, they also develop patience. Many times the opportunities meant for a person are delayed, not denied. But impatience causes them to settle for less than they deserve. They rush into situations that are not fully developed, take shortcuts that lead to dead ends, and make decisions based on fear rather than wisdom. Stillness teaches them to wait for the right moment. It reminds them that what is truly meant for them cannot be taken away. The most successful individuals understand that stillness is not weakness. It is a source of power. It allows them to think clearly, move wisely, and respond rather than react. Instead of forcing things, they align themselves with the natural flow of life. Opportunities, relationships, and success come to them not because they chase after them desperately, but because they are prepared and positioned to receive them when the time is right. Maturity is knowing when to speak and when to be silent. Many people believe that maturity is simply about age or experience, but true maturity is demonstrated in the ability to control one's words. Knowing when to speak and when to remain silent is a sign of wisdom, discipline, and understanding. A mature person does not feel the need to respond to everything. They do not engage in unnecessary arguments. They do not speak just to be heard, and they do not engage in unnecessary arguments. They do not engage in unnecessary arguments. They do not speak just to be heard. And they do not reveal everything they know. Instead, they choose their words carefully, ensuring that what they say is meaningful, necessary, and impactful. A lack of control over speech often leads to trouble. Many conflicts, broken relationships, and lost opportunities can be traced back to words spoken in haste. When a person speaks without thinking, they risk saying things they will later regret. But a mature individual understands the weight of words. They take time to think before they speak, ensuring that their words bring clarity rather than confusion, healing rather than harm, and wisdom rather than foolishness. They recognize that silence is not a weakness, but a strength that allows them to avoid unnecessary drama and misunderstandings. There is a time to speak and a time to listen. Those who have mastered this balance are often seen as wise and respected. When they speak, people listen because they know that their words are not empty. They do not speak to impress others, but to add value. They do not waste energy on arguments that lead nowhere. Instead, they observe, listen, and choose the right moment to contribute. In conversations, they are not focused on proving themselves, but on understanding others. This ability to listen before speaking allows them to respond with wisdom rather than reacting out of emotion. Maturity in speech also means knowing when silence is more powerful than words. There are moments when explaining, defending, or arguing is unnecessary. A wise person knows that not every situation requires their input. Some matters are best left alone, and some arguments are won by silence rather than debate. When a person learns to control their tongue, they avoid unnecessary conflicts and allow situations to unfold naturally. They understand that the truth does not always need to be defended with words. Sometimes it is best revealed through actions. Speaking at the right time brings influence and respect. Those who speak too often or too carelessly are not taken seriously. But those who choose their words wisely gain credibility. Their words carry authority because they are not thrown around carelessly. They do not seek attention through constant talking, but through the depth of their understanding. They recognize that sometimes the most powerful statements are made not through words, but through presence, wisdom, and restraint. A person's ability to control their speech is a direct reflection of their self-discipline. Immaturity is seen in those who constantly interrupt, gossip, argue, or speak without thinking. Maturity, on the other hand, is displayed by those who know when their words are needed and when silence is more beneficial. They do not let emotions control their speech, but instead exercise patience, wisdom, and self-control. Trust the process. What is meant for you will come naturally. Many people struggle with impatience, frustration, and doubt because they try to force things to happen on their own timeline. They push, they strive, and they attempt to control outcomes, believing that success, love, or opportunities must be chased aggressively. But those who understand the power of trust recognize that everything in life has a set time. And what is truly meant for them will not require force or struggle. When a person learns to trust the process, they free themselves from unnecessary stress and allow things to unfold as they should. Life moves in seasons, and each season has a purpose. A seed does not bear fruit the moment it is planted. It must go through a process of growth, development, and transformation before it reaches its full potential. In the same way, people must go through their own seasons of preparation before they receive what is meant for them. Those who rush ahead often find themselves unprepared for the very thing they were chasing. But those who trust the process understand that delays are not denials. They are simply moments of refinement, making them ready for what is coming. Forcing things to happen often leads to disappointment. When a person tries to manipulate situations or control every detail, they end up exhausted and frustrated. They may get what they want temporarily, but it rarely lasts because it was not meant to happen that way. Relationships that are forced often fall apart. Careers that are rushed often lead to burnout. And success that is achieved through shortcuts rarely brings fulfillment. But when something comes naturally, it flows without resistance. It aligns effortlessly because it is in harmony with the right timing and circumstance. Trusting the process requires patience and faith. It means believing that even when things are not going as planned, they are still working together for a greater purpose. It means understanding that setbacks, failures, and obstacles are not the end of the journey, but part of the path. Many times, what seems like a rejection is actually redirection towards something better. Those who trust the process remain steady, knowing that every challenge is shaping them, strengthening them, and preparing them for what is ahead. There is a peace that comes with trusting that what is meant for you will come naturally. It removes the need for comparison, competition, or desperation. It allows a person to focus on their growth, to enjoy the present moment, and to move forward without fear. Those who trust the process do not chase after things anxiously. They prepare themselves, stay faithful in what they are doing, and let life bring them what is truly there. When the time is right, the right doors will open, the right people will come, and the right opportunities will align effortlessly.